Okay, it's recording. Hey guys, my name is Kendrick, and this is the Enfp male channel. So the first Enfp male that I'm interviewing today is Jonathan here. So Jonathan, welcome, man.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
So there's actually a very specific reason why I wanted to interview you first, and it's going to be a really random reason. So I really like backpacking and traveling, and I remember I was traveling once in Serbia. And I was in the same train cabin as this guy who I thought was going to steal my stuff. But turns out that he was a really cool guy, and turns out he was an ENFP. And the weird thing is he looks like you. And
Really?
yeah, and we just kind of became best friends after sitting there. And we ended up talking for 8 hours about all sorts of random topics, ranging from business, politics, Dragon Ball Z. And it was just
Wow.
it was just really random. So when I saw you at Dave's the NE like when he
Yeah, the meetup.
yeah, when I saw you there, and I was like, oh my fucking god, this guy looks exactly like that friend that I made randomly on the train. I gotta interview this guy. And I remember when I was talking about how as an NE user, like when we go to a room, we tend to absorb people's feelings. And I saw you nodding your head, and I was like, oh, this guy gets it. Like he knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I said, totally random reason. So first thing I'd like to ask is what kind of ENFP are you, Jonathan?
Okay, so I am a double introverted ENFP.
Yeah.
And that is kind of related to the OP terms, in the sense that both of my functions or animals are kind of more about absorbing information and just kind of consuming on it and then kind of just processing it. So the bulk of my personality is literally just consuming and then just processing. So talking for me and being extroverted and being very high energy is very rare. And yeah, that's why I'm different, I guess.
All right. If I can get you to use your blast a little bit more. So if I can get you to give us the specific, letters, of your ENFP type.
You want to go into detail?
Yeah, let's go to details, man.
All right. I'm trying to just keep a high level because I'm not sure your audience understands the OP terms or not, but let's just do it.
No, man, I want you to talk about yourself. So.
Okay. That's the hardest thing to do, you know that. No. Okay. So yeah, so I'm a consume, sleep, play, blast, missing blast ENFP, which is basically NEFI, as the bulk of my personality. Consume, sleep are my saviors. So that's like what I said. It's just like I'm constantly consuming things and I'm narrowing what I consume down and trying to just work it out and figure it out in my mind. Before I actually go to the try, before I actually speak it out, before I actually get advice from other people, I'm constantly just consuming everything for me. So yeah, it's consume, sleep, play, and blast is last. And what that kind of means for me is that it's a struggle for me to kind of articulate all the information I've consumed, because consume is basically like an inward animal, and blast is kind of out. Consume is getting the information in, and blast is getting the information out. So for someone with blast last, it's really hard for me to because I've just consumed so much information. It's really hard for me to then articulate it out into kind of a structured, to actually make it coherent to people so they actually understand in logical or simple terms. So a lot of the times I'm just I couldn't be bothered. It's too hard to explain, or, I don't share a lot of my feelings. I don't share a lot of opinions with people, mainly because, and I guess this is a trait of Demon Blast, because I don't think that my reasons or my reasons are, I wouldn't say good enough, but they're not perfect enough. I kind of need to feel like I need to consume more of that topic and understand it more and more and more before I blast. But that's the kind of the paradox of the consume blast. Consume first and blast last. It's you keep thinking you need to consume more, but no, what you need to do is you actually need to get it out more. So yeah, is that enough blasting?
Yeah. So because you're a double decider and you do have extroverted thinking third,
yes,
you do have access to it. Are you still decent at planning, organizing, prioritizing, and executing? Even though that is your demon, supposedly your demon, but still 40%, right?
Yeah, I would say so. The metrics are an interesting one to understand, but Yeah, and this is kind of the reason why I actually originally typed myself as an INFJ, primarily because I thought I was really good at like narrowing and like organizing, not only like concepts and things that I consume, but also like in the physical world as well. Like I was always like, I'd like to always be tidy. My room, I always try to keep it really clean. My desk at work is super clean and tidy. My emails are like, I've got a system for them where I kind of file them away and know when to take action and all that kind of stuff. And for that reason, I thought like, I must have organized as my first animal. But it just turns out it's like an activated demon. So I do have access to it. And maybe compared to other ENFPs that don't have sleep in a higher stack, but still SI is still a problem for me in other ways. Like when it comes to maybe organizing a lot more, like, I guess keeping routine in my life in the sense of like, being on top of like your bank accounts and, organizing your bank statements, and then you're getting your car in for a service routinely every 6 months or whatever. Just all those kind of like things you need to do in life that constantly need to be like kept active, and you need to keep doing. All that stuff falls to the wayside, and it ends up exploding because, I've just ignored it.
That's really weird that you mentioned that, because that sounds like an INFJ trait, like they forget to do the SE, like getting their car in for an oil change, or, just like the daily stuff that trips them over. But clearly that you found out that you're an ENFP. Did you get typed by Dave and Shan, or?
Yeah, I did get typed by Dave and Shan.
And
sorry, go.
Oh no, I just wanted to add on to that. And for you then, is freedom the most important thing for you?
100%. I hate, to be honest, like I hate routine. I do not want routine in my life. I would like to just, wake up and just kind of just drift around and do whatever I want. But I know that routine is a problem for me. And therefore, like, I've tried to just, like, I've read a lot of books about, how to be organized, how to get things done. And I've tried to implement that into my life because I know it's a problem. And as hard and annoying as it is, I know that it actually brings satisfaction. Because if I'm just consuming and sleeping all day, which is so easy for me to do, I know like after a few days, I will just start getting like anxious or just depressed or something because I haven't actually done stuff. I need to physically do things to then get that gratification. Or
so
like feeling accomplished or something.
So can you walk us through what a typical day is for someone like you who's using consume and sleep, all day? Because that sounds really extreme. You're definitely an extreme side of the ENFP. If you look at the kind of, David Shan always talks about the what do you call it, like, Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk, how they're the extreme extrovert. So you're like here, you're closer to what's his name, the Elon Musk. So can you walk us through kind of like what that's like for you on a daily basis?
Sure. So, okay, what I'll do is like I'll kind of explain like how my day looks like in the sense of routine. So what I do every morning, I wake up at like 5:30. I go to the gym. I make a coffee, just get some energy into me. I'll go to the gym, or I'll do yoga, depending on which day it is. And then after that, I'll make breakfast. I'll get ready for work. I'll drive to work. It's literally just around the corner, so it's a nice, easy drive. And then I'll just, do my thing at work. I work in IT, so I'm constantly just, engaged with technology. And one thing I love about that is just consuming all the, like, because technology is constantly changing. It's always new. And that like really feeds my like saviors, because I love the new stuff. I love the new stuff. I love the change. So yeah, I go to work, which I'm going to go off topic a little bit. I love work. I love what I do, but in the environment, because it's so like a structured, like routine environment, which doesn't have a lot of change in terms of its processes, it does become very draining because I'm constantly having to do like almost the same thing every day, the same like routine things. And that for me is a real struggle. And like, I'm just left pretty drained by the end of the day. So at the end of the day, I'll then come back home, and usually my evenings are pretty relaxed. I try not to do too much. I do have a girlfriend, so like we spend like most of our time just watching TV. Sometimes during the weeks, I actually have a side business where I'm working with a friend in digital marketing. So we're kind of just building that up on the side. And And I kind of do that in my free time whenever I've got some available time after work. And then, yeah, we just relax in the evenings, have dinner, have some tea, and then just go to bed pretty early, about 9:30 or something. And then I just repeat that process again through the week.
So you mentioned that you have a girlfriend, and when we spoke on Facebook, you said that she is an ENTJ, extreme extrovert. So does she force you out of your extroversion to go out and stuff, you know? And I don't know if you like doing that.
100%. Like, I'm so thankful for her because she really okay, this is the interesting thing. She's an ENTJ. She's not the extreme extrovert because she's not missing sleep. She has consume as a demon rather than sleep. Sleep's third for her, but she's still quite extrovert, has a lot of energy. But she's a jumper. So she's a ENTJ. She's TEST. She's a primary animal. So she's more ST. She owns the ST. She's really good at all like the just punching the world, the things that you have to do, getting things done. You know, she's on top of all her finances, all her money, all the routine stuff. You know, she's really she's all about the practical, and she really pushes me to get out of my kind of NF zone of just wanting to be a hippie and just chill and do your. And she really kind of pushes me into okay, you need to get this done. Have you done this? You know, what about this? And it does create friction, but I know that it's positive for me because I know it's what I'm missing, and I know that it's good for me for growth. So, yeah.
I think the other cool thing is that because your girlfriend is an ENTJ with jumper, she has an extrovert sensing, which is, you know, the need for freedom also. So that kind of is something that you guys can kind of get along with because you both understand that language, right? Like freedom is something that you both understand.
Yeah. She loves getting outdoors and just being in nature, just, you know, having that freedom, the fresh air kind of. She's kind of borderline. She has some real NF vibes going on. She really likes the kind of I'm gonna say boho clothing style, and just the whole. She's got a slight hippie nature to her, but I think that's more kind of her third animal coming out. They say your third animal is more like your hobby. It's something that you kind of like to do on the side and you have a bit of fun with it. And for her, that's her NF is her third animal. So she's kind of really kind of introducing that into her life. So pretty cool.
Oh, I see. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, whenever you're at work and you're stuck in that, you know, environment where it's kind of routine, it's always the same every day. Is there always a part of you in the back of your head that's always thinking to yourself, man, I wish I was doing something else, you know? I wish I was in here, I was doing something else. And you start thinking of, you know, different things that you could be doing instead.
100%. Okay, if you spoke to me 10 years ago, I've changed a lot in the last 10 years, or maybe even the last 2 or 3 years. And OP is actually to thank for that because it's kind of highlighted my weaknesses. It's kind of helped me embrace them a little bit to kind of for growth. But if you had spoken to me 4 or 5 years ago, I was I just had no motivation at work. I was just you know, I don't want to be here. This is not me. It's really striking my FI to be in an environment like this, which is just so routine and boring. And my brain, I used to be in a band. So for me, I'm going to go back to high school as well. When I was just leaving high school, leading up into you know, having to go to work and, you know, do all that stuff, I was really struggling with that transition, of leaving school to know that I have to you know, get a job. I have to study something that I don't care about to then go into this system and just work you know, 40, 50 years. That to me was the most, I felt it was like death. I'm might as well just kill me. What's the point of all this?
It is death.
I want to sacrifice 40 hours a week, almost the rest of my life to do something that I don't want to do. So yeah. And I've been in the work industry for 10 years now. So it's the last kind of 10, 5 years have been a real struggle with it. I've always been battling with those kind of thoughts. And so to go back, when I left high school, I was in a band and I was really trying to just push with that and push on with that because it's something I wanted to do. I wanted to you know, just be in a band, play music. I play the drums. So just the thought of doing that for the rest of my life was awesome. I was this is what I want to do for my life. And this is how I want to kind of live the rest of my life, make money that way. It's something I'm doing and I'm having fun, right? So yeah, at work, I've always got these ideas you know, I'd rather be playing music. I'd rather be learning this thing over here. I'd rather be playing video games. I'd rather just be consuming, being exploring like how like my any like just will expand. It'll get ideas from people, and then it'll just start expanding out of like all the possibilities of that idea. Like, you know, if I notice I randomly will find value in something that like kind of impresses me. Like I went to a concert, which was Hans Zimmer. He's an awesome composer. And there was this awesome cello player. Her name is Tina Guo. And she was just rocking out on this cello. And I was like, she was blowing my mind. And I was like, holy crap, I really want to do that. And so for a few weeks, I was just like researching about like the cello and just all like how awesome the instrument was. I was like, this is so cool. I was like dedicated. I was like, I'm going to learn this. I want to buy a cello and get lessons. And then so that's just take that concept that I've just explained and apply it to like 30 other different things that pop up every now. I just want to chase things and just learn them and do them. And it's a struggle because like in reality, you can't do all those things. You have to like kind of narrow down into one thing and just kind of traject your life in a certain direction. And then.
So, why did you give up playing music? Because it sounds like a passion of yours. And you said you were an ex-musician. So.
Yeah. I haven't given up. Like I have a drum kit still, and I still every now and then will go back to it and just have a play. I'm always listening to music. Like it's probably the biggest thing that I'm consuming like on a daily. Like probably listen to music like at least an hour a day, if not like maximum like 3 or 4 hours a day. It's something I love. Like I just feel like I was, you know, my family were very musical, so that's kind of influenced me when I was growing up. And so it's something that I still want to pursue. But for me right now, like my main focus is just to like focus in on work, do my best there, focus in on my side business. I really want to like lift the side business up so I can scale myself out of my full-time job. And then eventually just go with that. And then eventually just, you know, look, the idea is for me to like not have to work 9 to 5. I want to be able to scale myself down so I work like a few hours a day, a few hours a week. So then I have time to invest into like all the NEFI things I want to do.
I'd like to move a little bit to the modalities. So you are masculine and feminine, and you're very auditory.
Yeah.
Which explains why you are into music, because you have a very good ear for sound and the beat and stuff. And I completely relate to you because I'm also, you know, masculine, feminine.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I notice for myself as someone that's auditory is that when someone tells me to visualize something, I don't see it. So do you have that same problem? Like, do you not see things when people tell you to visualize something, or can you see it as a result of having, you know, save your sleep?
That's a good question. I think Benjamin, who's also in the class, he asked me this question as well. And I kind of struggled to answer it because and that's probably like the fact that I can't think of an answer probably means that, yeah, it's probably true. Like I don't think I can visualize things. And it's actually making me think right now, when someone does explain something to me, the first thing I do is actually kind of draw it out to then visualize it. So I need to, before I actually can see something, the first thing I do is I just draw it out, like just draw a simple diagram on like a whiteboard or something. And that way I can kind of then see the framework or see the patterns or whatever it is. So yeah, I kind of agree with that.
You know what? That's a really good idea. I never thought of it that way, where, you know, if we can't visualize something, we can draw like a stick figure, kind of like to figure out, you know, kind of like a general idea of what it looks like. You're like, oh, okay, I see, you know?
Yeah. And it helps me at work because like I work in tech. I'm in tech support. So I'm always on the phone talking to people and they're trying to explain to me what their problem is. And if I draw it out, if I draw like a kind of a map of their office, of their computers, where the computer is sitting, where like their server is, how their network is all connected, it really makes it easy for me to then just troubleshoot the problem. And one thing I will recommend is you should get some whiteboards, because whiteboards have changed my life. They're literally the best thing. I have them I've got 3. I've got one in the fridge, I've got one in my study, and I've just got one like in the living room. I just write ideas down, draw stuff. It's great.
So you know what? I actually have 2 whiteboards in my apartment, but the problem is my girlfriend is also an ENFP, and what she does is she likes to doodle cartoons, and all the whiteboards that I'm supposed to be using to kind of draw those diagrams that you're saying is full of doodles, and then she gets upset if I erase them, so I can't use them.
We just take a photo and just like, all right, it's backed up. Now I'm gonna wipe it off.
No, it doesn't work that way with girls.
That's
It's
true.
special, when they wrote it themselves. But anyways, I'd like to ask you: do you think living in Australia has changed your personality a little bit? Like, if you were to live somewhere else? Because I noticed that sometimes I talk to an ENFP and they're from a different country, and as a result of kind of like their environment, they actually act a different way. So I don't know what the vibe is like in Sydney. Like, I've been there once, but just overnight, so not long enough to really understand the vibe is there. But
Yeah.
so
This is a question, a really, really good question, because it's something that I've thought about a lot. Not necessarily me, but just people in general. And like this goes back to like a lot of what Darren Brown says as well, is about we're kind of programmed, and like your cultures, where you live, everything kind of affects, like manifests your personality. So yes, I do think that living in Sydney, like if I lived in a different country, I'd 100% be different. I'd probably have to still like the same framework, but just like little nuances about me, like maybe my style, maybe like how I present myself, maybe different. Um, it's super interesting. It's something that I've actually like I love to observe in people as well. It's interesting you mentioned that, because I'm actually planning to move overseas, moving to the Netherlands.
oh,
So my
nice.
girlfriend, yeah, so my girlfriend's originally from there, and like her family's all over there, and it's just it's exciting to me. So I want to do it. So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, new possibilities is always exciting.
And I'm already starting to think about like the new things. Like I'm like even just the language, because like I really want to learn a new language. So when I'm over there, I'm gonna study Dutch. I want to learn it, pick it up, and I really want to explore the differences in language and how they affect people, like in terms of how they pronounce words, how their voice sounds, how their accent comes out. Because there's so many like, I don't know, I just find it super interesting. There's so many little differences in people, like you said, like where they're brought up. And I want to understand them. And I want to like pinpoint like, well, this is because of that, and that's because of this and this. So yeah.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned languages, because languages is also like an auditory kind of
Exactly.
modality. So
Yeah. And people have told me like I've tried, like I've spoken Spanish before. Like I went to South America and I picked up a little bit of Spanish, and I was talking to some locals, and they actually were I was from there, because I reckon my accent was so good. My girlfriend's telling me the same thing. It's like, no, your accent in Dutch is great. Like, you're doing really well. So it must be a trait of audio's.
So you said you went to South America. So does this mean you enjoy traveling and you've traveled to quite a few places yourself?
Yeah. So I went to South America in 2008. I was involved in a local church at the time, and they had like planned like a little like trip over there to stay with some people and just kind of help out in like a lot of the poor areas.
Which country were you in South America?
We went to Uruguay.
Uruguay, okay.
Yeah, so that was where the main mission trip was, but I went there, I went to Argentina and Paraguay as well, like around the mission trip, just to explore and see what life's like. But yeah, the main mission trip was Uruguay. And that was great. Like it was really eye-opening, like just seeing different sides of life, seeing like a more third world country, and just seeing, like not everyone is as as lucky as we are in terms of like what we have as resources, and in terms of like where we live and the clean water and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really great experience. So yes, I do love traveling, and when I move over to Amsterdam or Holland, Netherlands, because they're a very small country and they're surrounded by a lot of other countries. I'm just going to be doing a lot of traveling in the next few years. So that's going to be.
You know what? That was actually my next question. Is that you're probably gonna have a blast living in Amsterdam, just because there's so many countries around the Netherlands, and when you live in Australia, where can you go? Like New Zealand, right? Or like maybe Bali. So
Exactly.
Now my next question to you is, what is your 10-year goal? From now, like where do you see yourself? And you said you're working on your digital marketing business on the side, and
Yes.
in your ideal world, I guess you want that to be the one that sustains you, so that you can live from anywhere in the world and still make income, but allows you to explore and get a chance to abuse that NE a little bit more by learning more about different cultures, and just being more free to express yourself with the FI. So where do you see yourself in 10 years, and what is kind of like your goal to get there?
Yeah, so you pretty much nailed it. Like my goal is to like build up this side business. And I also want to like kind of like almost bit like an entrepreneur. I kind of want to start a few other smaller businesses as well. Not really huge, organizations, but I want to just do some other stuff in marketing, like, selling t-shirts. I mean, just something real simple like that, just to get some extra like cash flow coming in as well. And I kind of want that as basically my resource or money. Like that's kind of like how I want to survive in terms of having that resource over the next 10 years. And I want to the main goal is just freedom. Like I want freedom. I need time. Like I want more time to be able to do things. And I need to really like narrow down what exactly it is I want to do. There's a few things I've kind of narrowed it down to, but I do want to study. Like I want to go to university. I want to study, get into like psychology, or here we go, all the ideas. Psychology, philosophy, language, linguistics. Yeah, somewhere around there. One of those things I'll probably pick and just kind of do, but I really want to I want to get deep into something around psychology or philosophy or something.
So right now, when you're building up your business in digital marketing, what is the personality type of your partner, and what kind of conflict have you two had as a result of maybe being different people? And let's start with that, and I'll do some follow-up questions.
Yeah, sure. So the reason why we got into business together is because like we were like, he's probably my best friend. Like I've known him for 10 years, and like out of every other person I've known, like me and him get along so well. Like we just understand each other, and yeah, it's crazy. Like we get each other. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. We don't have much friction. Like sometimes there'll be like a few things here and there, but it's just like kind of petty stuff, and we just like flick it away. It's no real problem. I think so. Back a few years back, we were both like heavily into MBTI and just learning typology. And he actually typed himself as ENTP, and I typed myself as INFJ. And I kind of thought that was the reason why we were so like we mesh well, because a lot of like in MBTI, a lot of people say that ENTPs and INFJs get along really well because of that like TIFE kind of axis, and the NI and NE and the demon sensory kind of stuff.
It's like the ENFP and the INFJ together. The ENFP and INTJ.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's like that. But since learning OP and stuff, I'm kind of starting to see that he may still be. I still don't know. I'm trying to get him to get typed, and I'm hopefully going to do that in the next few months, because I really want to understand. I want to understand his code, so then I can understand why there's like these cool links between us. But I kind of get the feeling that he's probably actually an INTJ with blast and then play.
That's so different from ENTP.
Yeah, well, it's different, but it's like it's kind of inside out. Like they say, like Eric Thor, like he has a great theory. He's like, a lot of people type themselves not upside down, like David Shannon said, but inside out.
Yeah,
it's like it's the same letters in order. So N T F N, but like reverse polarity. So instead of introvert, extrovert kind of thing. So yeah, I feel like he may just type himself inside out, because he's very NT. Like he's definitely a thinker, and he's got so much energy. He's all just about like go, and he'll crash at the end of the day and just be like just out.
So you've got to sleep last then.
Yeah, he's either sleep last or consume last. That's what I'm kind of getting at. He thinks he's an introvert. He's totally not.
So he doesn't research that much then if he has consumed last. He's more of like a know-it-all kind of personality.
This is something I'm seeing. Like I'm seeing that he kind of pushes away, like trying to gather. Like I'm keep suggesting things to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll check it." Or like he's very low. Like whereas me, like so we're okay. Him and I, we were together in the band like a few years ago. He was a singer, played guitar as well, and so we were both into music. And a perfect example of why I think he's consumed last is because we both love Spotify. We're always listening to music. I'm constantly just gathering like more bands to listen to. Like almost every day, I want to hear new.
Yeah.
And he's like, keep sending him all this stuff, and he's like, he wants to listen to the same stuff that he knows. Like, he wants to go back to the known man, known information, and he's very reluctant to kind of like check out some new stuff. So I told him, I said, look, I've noticed this trend. I'm like, I noticed that all I do is collect new music, and I notice you want to listen to the same stuff. So what I'm going to do is, instead of throwing all this music at you, I'm just going to narrow things down and just like, if I find a band that I like, I'm going to listen to it for a while. And if I really, really like it, I'm like, it's a band that I'm going to be on board with, then I'll say, look, yeah, you should check this band. You should check this band out. So I kind of like acted as a bit of a filter for him in terms of like gathering music.
So holy shit, you guys both essentially typed yourself upside down.
Probably.
Because you said you were an INFJ, now suddenly you became an ENFP, and your buddy, who's supposed to be an ENTP, is probably an INTJ. So
yeah, exactly.
if he is supposedly an INTJ, is he the one that's organizing all the stuff in your business then?
So this is the other thing, like he keeps, like, we keep throwing like the MBTI terms around every time like something is hard. It's like, because we'll always joke around like SI. It's like, oh, you know, SI is so horrible. And he always like, he doesn't seem someone who's organized. Like he's not, it's hard. It's really hard to pick. He doesn't seem organized, but at the same time, he seems to actually get things done. Like he knows things have to be done in a routine sense, but he just gets it done. Whereas I'm like, I'll push it back and do it later. He's like, so that's why I think he's high blast, which would probably mean he has OI as a savior. So it's a struggle. It's hard.
Yeah, I definitely need to get him type. Otherwise, you don't know.
He's super busy. Like he's kind of like the forefront of the business. So he's like the top level, just kind of like filtering stuff down. So I need to protect his time a little bit, but I need to figure out a way where he can just record a video, and then I'll do all like the organization of like, you know, going to David Shannon, getting the results, and then give it to him.
So, Jonathan, can you tell me the last time you had like a very massive SI freakout? You know, like you know, when, you know, absolutely the SI just kick your ass, and you know, think of the worst one, and you know, tell us about it. Like the absolute worst SI freakout you've had. Like someone either tried to control you, or you lost some documents, and the tax person's coming, and you don't have the documents to show them, and now you're fucked. You know, like.
Okay, I'm glad you gave me examples, because when you said controlling, straight away I thought of something. So I used to work for someone like 2 years ago. I only lasted there for 6 months because it was a nightmare. Like and because I'm very introverted, I kind of kept all my thoughts to myself, and I didn't really share it with anyone. So yeah, he was just a very controlling person. He was like, you need to do it like this. You need to do it exactly like this. Do it like this. No, don't do that. And he'll send me emails if I've done something wrong. Well, hey, don't do it like this. Do it like this. Do it this way instead. Don't use that word because it's unprofessional. He was just throwing all this fucking like controlling shit.
Is he an ESTJ or something?
I think he was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the guy. He's an asshole.
He's a dick.
Yeah, so that's perfect. And I just like, I kind of went into a real depressed state, and I didn't actually realize until like my friends told me. It's like, dude, like, I don't know, you seem very different. Like they noticed it a while back, and it took them a while to actually tell me. But I think like, I just got to this point where I was just like, I was constantly just anxious. So like with having a sleep as a savior wasn't good in this sense, because I was constantly just like thinking about like this guy, and like having to go to work, and I've got to do all these things the right way, or otherwise I'm going to get in trouble, isn't it? It's like, tell me off. So I was really kind of like spiraling like into this negative state. And I was just like, fuck, I need to get out of this place, because it's going to like, I'm going to explode. We're going to, yeah. So, and that was hard. Like even the fact of like having to go and try to find another job was like traumatic, because I don't know, it must have just been my state of mind at the time, but it felt like the hardest thing to do. And thankfully, like I applied, I went to an interview, they loved me, they're like, man, you're awesome, stuff, blah, 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 blah. So they practically gave me the job on the spot. And I was just like, that was the most overwhelming and like happy experience for me, because I was like in this low like state, and this controlling guy, to meet these like super friendly, loving people. I was like, wow, this is what I need. So I jumped on board, handed my resignation in, and like, yeah, my life is just going upwards now. So.
And you were free.
Yes, I was free.
Now that you mentioned that, I actually have a question for you. So because you have sleep, you know, as a savior, and as a result of having sleep as a savior, you tend to process things a lot in your head, right? And because you're processing so much stuff in your head, I am going to assume that some of the stuff that you process freaks you out. And as a result, that prevents you from actually blasting, because the thought of blasting that and then you could kind of picture kind of like the what's going to happen after you blast it. Like kind of like maybe like a tribe tidal wave will happen as a result of blasting incorrectly or not having enough information. So would you say having that save your sleep is preventing you from blasting?
Yes, definitely. And that's like, so I knew this about me, like even way before like I got into typology, is that, and even when I was an INFJ, because I kind of thought the reason why I do that is maybe because I'm an INFJ, because I'm introverted or whatever, but it's like, people call it analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
It's like overthinking things and you're starting to make all these decisions in your mind. And you're kind of like playing like devil's advocate in your brain. And I think double deciding has something to do with that as well. It's like you're kind of deciding whether you should like release this information or not. You're like, if I do it, it might go like this person might get offended and this person might get upset. Or like, I'm really horrible at confrontation. So if I do this, I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to feel so like low, and they're going to probably throw like reasons at me. And like, I'm just going to feel like I'm a mess because I gave them bad reasons or something.
Yeah.
And they agree with me. So it's just like this constant struggle in my brain. So yes, like it can be a hurdle when it comes to blasting. But it's something that like, I'm just trying to like, because I understand it and I'm conscious of it, I'm trying to therefore just skip over the sleep to an extent, and then actually just learn to just communicate a bit more. Like learn to just, you don't have to throw so much stuff out. You can just, rather than like going, Tony Robbins style, just speak up a little more. Just use a few extra words. Just explain things a little bit different. Just spend a bit more energy describing something. So it's all about like that little like 1 or 2% change in the way to increase your growth.
So can you tell us one, fuck it moment where like you were just so stressed out and you didn't give a shit about your sleep and consume anymore? You're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do this. Because you had your back against the wall and this was the only option. You know what? Fuck it. And you just blast, Does that ever happen to you?
I'm trying to just think of a situation where I've done that. I can imagine a scenario when I would do it. Let's go with that. So if I see someone like, okay, if I'm in a group scenario and I see someone as being like rude to someone, or like they're kind of like just like punching in the face with words or something, and someone's getting offended, that to me like would then spark, like it'll boil my blood a little bit, and it probably would just be like, I'll just blurt out, holy shit, someone like, how dare you do that? You can't do this person, and just like really just hammer them over the head. So I think it really requires me to be triggered. Like if I'm triggered, like if I'm like, something just like gets my blood boiling in the sense of like injustice or like someone else getting mistreated, like I would probably just blast a whole heap of shit.
But that's never happened before? That's actually, you've never been to the point where someone triggered you to the point where you blasted,
I remember times in high school, but like I just would end up just like being a sob and just cry and just like run away. But, I'm trying to picture or imagine, like to be honest, I don't think, well, okay. Maybe like an ex-girlfriend or something, she was just like hammering me with all this stuff, and she was like playing, what was the situation? She was like, just blaming me for things, like just saying, are you doing this wrong, And I'll just be like, so I didn't actually blast. I just yelled and I just like punched. I was in a car and I was punching the steering wheel like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, and just like hitting this thing and just like walk away. So yeah, I probably not blasting, just destroying things.
Dude, man, that's so interesting because your blast is so kind of restricted that you can't even get it out, like in your car, you're hitting the steering wheel, and I know you wanted to scream and say something to her, but it just won't come out, the words won't form itself.
Like, exactly, because there's all these words I want to say, but it's just like, especially in that moment, like it's going to be super hard to actually say what I mean. Because then like, and that's the thing, like I'm afraid that I may say something that's just going to cause more damage. I think that's why. Maybe I'm afraid of blasting.
So wait a minute. Are you afraid of conflict?
Yeah.
Like, are you like, is that something that you avoid thoroughly? Is having a fight or some kind of, kind of disturbing the harmony of the group?
So I've never been in a physical fight. Never. because maybe that's just the NF thing. It's like, what's this going to solve? Like, people could anger me to that point. And I think if someone kept pushing me, like physically or like physically trying to hurt me, I would probably snap and just like uppercut them in the head.
Yeah.
That's like a cat energy. Like, it's like really like kind of like sleep processing, always preserving energy. But if you like, because I'm like so solid, like I've got a masculine, my sleep is masculine, right? It's
Yes.
FI are both masculine.
Yes.
So my inner world is super like rock solid. And if you
Yeah.
like, if you break that, it's just gonna like, I'm just like, it's just gonna, I'll definitely cause damage to you. But thankfully, and I think the reason why that hasn't happened, because I have like my play energy is double feminine. So
yes.
I do come kind of soft and I'm very like, I absorb, right? So
yeah.
I don't rub people up the wrong way, or I don't cause any friction to other people. So therefore they've got no reason to like act out on me that way.
Yeah.
So,
I think, dude, I think you're an Enneagram type 9 because you don't like conflict, and type 9 is all about peace, harmony, relaxation, comfort. So that sounds like you. And remember you said that before you took yourself as 4, now you became a 9. And typically Enneagram type 9 has a lot of sleep energy. And my youngest sister is an Enfp type 9 also, and she loves sleeping, relaxing, being comfortable. She hates conflict. She loves harmony. You would never see her confronting anybody. I don't know if you are the type of person that would confront somebody, but well, probably not. So
I kind of have to do my job because I'm a team leader. Like sometimes I have to confront, but I don't want to do it. It's not something I do naturally or feel comfortable doing.
I think the other thing I find interesting is you mentioned that as an NF, we don't like conflict or we like harmony, but I disagree with that because I'm actually a shit starter. Growing up, I'm the person that, fights with people all the time in the playground. And, I get my ass kicked most of the time because I'm a small person, but
maybe you are maybe you're NETE. Maybe you are NETE.
It's possible. I was mulling over it when Dave and Shan said that. And I do think it's not a huge difference. I do have feminine TE and I have masculine FI, which would make sense why I'm kind of rejecting someone trying to tell me what my identity is because, like this guy is clearly using a lot of reasons and he got the reasons from the tribe and he's saying it, but he's blind to it. And then I started really picturing that and I started, thinking about it and kind of like, I started watching myself every day since they mentioned that just to see if I'm not full of shit, right? Because I wanted to make sure that I'm not really lying to myself. The other thing is that I get a lot of tribe tidal waves. That's why I didn't think that I was, lead TE. Because I feel like I'm really selfish and I always do things that I want to do, as a result of, I just don't want to compromise my values. So whenever my values is on the line, I would never, ever compromise it. I always pick my values over something that's not my values. And I would pick my values over tribe harmony, always. And that's why I never, it was such a hard struggle for me to kind of figure out if I was TE or if I was FI.
Yeah.
But I think, you know what? I do think I'm maybe 51% TE and 49% FI. It's really close, man. But well, I want to go back to you, not me. So let's go back to you.
Yeah, no.
Because you have Savior FI, do you ever get tribe tidal waves?
Let me sleep on that for 2 seconds.
Sure. So while you're processing, it's just that, like they kind of say that if you're someone that has, Savior any, then the kind of tidal waves that you'll get is control, right? So if you have Savior tribe above self, then your tidal waves would essentially be tribe tidal waves. So do you have that?
So I've tried to identify where that is in my life. And I think because, yes, I am self over tribe, but I also am a double decider. So I think that does help and balance out, like not upsetting the tribe too much because I'm very like, I've noticed this even like, for the last few years, like I've really noticed that I'm very good at observing like both perspectives, tribe versus myself, or even between other people. Like I'm very good at weighing up both options and seeing like, okay, yes, these guys have valid reasons and values, and these people have valid reasons and values. Therefore, like, why is there conflict between you? So what I mean by that is because of that and because of my understanding of that, I don't feel like I've really like fucked the tribe over. much. But like, you know, I've upset people for sure. Like, you know, I've like created some events at my house and stuff, and maybe I forgot to invite someone once, and they got really upset about it. And I was like, for me, I was like, oh, sorry. Like,
My
I
bad.
understand. But I was like, well, like, I feel selfish saying that, and that probably is being like masculine FY and not really caring too much about the tribe. And that's the thing. And that's okay. This is where I think I kind of push a tribe away. It's like I do value myself, and because I'm masculine FI, I do like say fuck the tribe a lot. I don't care. I want to do my thing, but I don't say that to them. I don't like, hey tribe, fuck you. Like, I would never do that because I don't know, that's feminine TE, and that's like, it's a demon for me. So I wouldn't like stir shit up on purpose because I know it's going to bite me in the ass. I mean, I've wanted to do it many times. I've thought about it, but it's that I'm aware of and I don't want to upset. So yeah, I can't really give you any examples of try.
I think when you forgot to invite someone, that sounds more like an SI problem. You know, it's like a detailed thing. You know, like, oh, you forgot this one. Yeah.
100%. But I guess dealing with the tribe response. Actually, you know what? Like, okay, I just thought of something. I caused a bit of a stir in a community I was involved in. It was like in a church a few years ago because there's a lot of things that were going on which weren't right, like conflict between people, which kind of involved me and my partner at the time. It was more her and her family, and yeah, I don't know, I don't still to this day I don't fully understand the details, but all I know is that like her family got upset about like what happened in the church and like the person that was leading it at the time. And it basically just caused them to just like go, no, we're out. And I was like stuck. I was like, holy shit, like my partner is like, we're so involved in this community. And she was like, no, she's leaving. And I was like, holy shit, my parents are here, my family's at this place. So I was like caught right in the middle of this situation.
So two different tribes, essentially.
Two different tribes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like family I've known, I've grown up with my whole life.
Yeah.
Or like kind of like future family.
Yeah.
And there was like, yeah, it wasn't easy. Like, it wasn't nice either. Like there was a lot of like negativity on both sides. It's like, you know, yeah. And they just wouldn't get together. We tried so many times to do mediations, like 2 or 3, of like getting people together to talk, but it always just ended up just people getting angry, more angry, frustrated, and leaving. And so, and I kind of try to instigate a lot of those as well. It's like, you know, we need to create some more harmony here. I saw both sides. Like I saw that like all the problems that each one had. And it's like, if you just talked about these reasons and these problems that came to a conclusion, then it'll be fine. But they just kept bashing each other with all their verbal and their hate and their issues. So I was caught in the middle and I had to make a decision. I was like, what do I do? Do I just keep going to this church and involved in the community while my partner and her family are just like hating it and gonna probably hate me for going? So I was just like, what do I do? So I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to have to leave. I'm just going to leave. And that caused like a huge tidal wave for the people involved because I was so involved in the community and I was like part of the music group. I was playing the drums.
Wait, hold on a second. You left the church is what you're trying to say or what?
Yeah. So I left the church. I left the church tribe, and because my family were part of the church, it was hard. It was a really hard decision. Basically had a sit down conversation with my parents, a few other people and the pastor, and I said, look, you know, this is what I have to do because this is the easiest option for me. And that caused a tidal wave for my family a bit and for the church. But to me, because of the demon tribe, I just pushed it away. I just didn't want to deal with it. I'm like, I'm leaving. So you guys just do your thing over here and I'm gone. Like I ran away. I didn't like talk to anyone. There was a bit of like disconnect with my family, my parents for a while, which was hard for them. It was harder for them for me, like, because look, masculine sleep, like masculine in a world, like to me, I knew that what I did was right. So I wasn't upset at all. I did not cry, wasn't upset. I needed to let them deal with it and process and get through the situation. And then I just knew after a few years, it'll kind of get back together. So that's your example.
So you essentially chose your girlfriend then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. So it sounds ex-girlfriend. Yeah, but it sounds like
I need to mention this. Like, so we got married, right? We're not married anymore. We got married.
okay.
Yeah. So this,
Oh, you got divorced? I didn't know that.
I don't want to go into too much details, but I'll just give you the quick
Okay.
story. So we got married. We were married at the time. She wasn't my girlfriend. We were married. Let me just get that detail.
What was her personality type?
She typed as Enfp on MBTI, but I don't know.
Okay, you're both ENFPs.
Yeah, so I think we both had very masculine Enfp.
Okay.
So we were married. We lived like 3 or 4 years together. It kind of wasn't working out. We both amicably separated. It was a bit hard for both of us at the time, but we were mature. We grew up. That was like 10 years ago, and now we're like, to this day, we're friends. So no, I just want to give that details just to fill them together.
10 years ago, so you got married at a young age then?
I was married at 21.
Oh my God, that's really young.
Way too young.
What made you get married at such a young age?
Look, because I was involved in the church.
Yeah.
They're very like pro, like, marriage and finding a partner. And it's like, oh, you guys are perfect for each other. So, you should get married and blah, blah, blah. And, like all this extra, like religious stuff thrown into the mix.
Yes.
And at the time, I was like, yes, this is great. This is, this is really good. I'm being able to support from my community, my church community.
Yeah.
And it just was the worst advice I ever got in my life. Because we were not like, I was so underdeveloped. Like I was 21 years old, consumed sleep, missing blast. I was this little kid, like literally, I felt like a teen. Like looking back, I was a teenager. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea like what I wanted to do in my life. I just had no like foundation, no solid foundation. And she was in the same boat. And we were good. It was fun in the beginning. We were friends. We hung out. We did a lot of cool things together. But it just ended up falling apart because we had none of our own like foundations. So.
Yeah, man. I think like it doesn't matter if you're an ENFP or any other personality type. I think like if you're 21, you have no clue what's going on. Like.
But that's the thing. You think you know everything. So yes, I'm a 21. I'm accomplished. Like, I know everything. No, you're a fucking idiot.
No, for sure, man. I was a retard for sure when I was 21. Like I was just playing video games all day, living in my mom's house. So like I had no absolutely. And you're married already, jeez. But like, did you have any kids with her or?
No kids, no house. That's why divorce was so easy because like we had nothing. Like we're just renting a house. We had collected a few objects and things, but it was a very easy process. And like to be honest, like compared to other people I know who've gone through divorce, like it was easy. Like, and we were both on board with it. Like we both wanted to get divorced, so there was no problems.
Did you get tribe that tidal waves as a result of the divorce? Because that's a very taboo thing for Christians, right?
I think from her family I did. Like I upset a few of her family members, but I did not care. So
yeah,
I did not care. I actually got a lot of support, and I think it helped me reconnect with my family a bit because her family still had a lot of issues with my family. So now look, I hate that they had those issues because they could have got along, but because of the church situation, it kind of created some bad blood. But what was I saying? What was the last question you asked?
The last question was that if you had a tidal wave from your family as a result of the divorce.
Yeah. So no, I didn't. I got a positive tidal wave. I got like a.
That's not a tidal wave then.
It was tidal wave. It was a gush of wind, just giving me a big. No, it was great. I reconnected with my family. They kind of really understood. They were really happy for me and they just, and everyone I met was yeah, it's good. It's good that you guys could do it. All our friends that we had, I'm still friends with all the friends that we had together, most of them. And they're all really happy and positive. You guys are doing this really, you're doing this the right way. You're staying friends, which is great. And she's got a boyfriend now. We me and my girlfriend hang out with her and her boyfriend sometimes.
That's so weird, man. But it works. So
everyone says it's weird. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But
that is weird.
I don't care. yes, it is a weird, but we don't have we don't have those feelings anymore. Like I kind of feel like we're just like really good friends, or like even brother and sister to some degree. It's weird. It works and it's good because I don't have any conflict to deal with or any like kind of like. It's
None of your partners are getting jealous over the two of you still hanging out and stuff?
No, like, and this is the thing, like when I met my current girlfriend, like I told her, like, look, I met her while I was transitioning through divorce. Like, I was like, look, I'm going through this thing right now. This is what it is. I just told her everything. And like, this is, if you want to, pursue this relationship, this is what I have to deal with. And I'm like, look, I would like, and I think, and I believe that we can work this out. And I believe that, you know what, like even the two of you could probably be friends one day. So, and look, it happened.
That's so weird, but if it works, man, it works, I guess.
Yeah. Look, I don't like cutting people out of my life. Like, I think everyone can add value to your life, and you never know what might happen. The more people you know, you just gotta be friendly to people, and just like, who knows what might happen when you network with someone and invite them into your life, into your world.
It's funny that we're both ENFPs, but we're so different. Because I'm that kind of person that burns bridges, like especially when I was younger. I'm not doing it as much anymore because I realized, that's why I thought it was FI for the longest time, because I just burned bridges left and right. It's like, if I don't like you, fuck you. I'm burning bridges with you, and not only am I burning bridges with you, I'm gonna let you know directly that I'm burning bridges with you. Like you're gonna know that I think you're a piece of shit, and I'm burning bridges with you. Like I'm extremely confrontational, and my girlfriend gets really upset at me because, like, when I meet somebody and I don't like them, they know right away I don't like them because I probably went already to their face and I already told them, that I think they're scum.
But that's the awesome with like feminine TE. It's like you can just say that out loud, not actually like maybe that has to do with like demon sleep. It's like you're not not kind of you're not overthinking the repercussions. You're just like, I'm just gonna do it. I don't care.
Yeah, man, it's a huge problem because I don't process things first. So I act before I think. And because I do that, after I say the stuff that I say, I can't take it back, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I just, like I just a few days ago, I was about to say something to because I work in the fitness industry, so I was doing personal training for two clients, and one of my clients used to partner up. So my client's an INFJ, and her previous partner was an ENFP, and they have since split up doing partner personal training with me because one of them, the ENFP, her schedule just became too much, and she has low sleep too, right? So she's working like, I don't know, like 80 hours a week or something crazy. So she found a new partner who was an ENFJ, and the ENFJ does not work out and has zero self-awareness, and has absolutely kind of like no fitness background. So when I'm doing personal training with them, it's so difficult for me because I have to give them completely different workouts. And what happened was that in the previous session, I noticed that the INFJ arrived first. So I went up to her, and as I was about to say something to her about the ENFJ being kind of, not there yet when it comes to her fitness level, just because she has a lot of, bodily issues that she neglected over the years, maybe from, again, low sleep, right? I'm not really sure. Or maybe not low sleep, sorry, but low TI. People with low TI, they don't have that self-awareness and they don't take care of themselves, right? It's all about the tribe, so they forget about themselves. I was about to say something to the INFJ lady. And then she said, before I said it, she pointed out, oh yeah, by the way, she's right behind you. And I was like, oh fuck, I just barely dodged the bullet. And I like inside myself, I was freaking the fuck out. It's like, oh my God, I was about to talk shit about her in front of her.
Yeah, that's not.
And man, I was like, holy shit, like I need to use sleep more. Like I can't keep doing this. I can't like not think about what I'm about to say without saying it. Like I have to think first before what I say, because like I'm gonna shoot myself in my foot.
Yeah, 100%. Like
so I definitely see the benefit of you doing that, because like I'm shooting myself all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I have one last question for you, dude.
Sure.
As an ENFP, or not just an ENFP in general, but as an NF, one of the biggest things that's the most important thing to us is having that life purpose. Like doing something that's bigger than us and making a difference in the world. So you are in your 30s right now, early 30s, right?
Yep.
Do you have any idea what it is that you want to commit yourself into, kind of like a purpose that you want to put your whole energy into because you really believe in this cause and you think it's really going to help a lot of people. It's going to make the world a better place, at least for a certain group of people. And you know for a fact that you're one of the best people that should be in this area. Not saying that in an arrogant way, but more just
No,
because you have that
and
ability. You have a lot to contribute in this area, just
yeah.
because knowing yourself and knowing the skill set that you have. So, do you have any idea what kind of cause you want to get yourself into, or kind of what purpose in life you have in the next
Sure.
20 years or longer in your life?
Yeah, look, and to be honest, like this is something I've dreamed of like for a long time. I've always wanted to, input something into the world to help, make it a better place, or to, make it 0.01% better.
Yeah.
And obviously the main problem is what is it that I do? And this is kind of why, like, I really want to get into psychology and philosophies, because I want to understand maybe people on a different level. Like, and I totally get, and I still believe that like ENFPs are probably one of the best personality types naturally to understand people, to be able to absorb emotions. Like with the NEFI, understand the emotions, the patterns of people and humanity. And also like, and with that double deciding, being able to see both sides of the fence and then be able to kind of present some like solutions. So I don't know exactly what it is, what I want to do, but I just know that I need to chase these ideas. I need to chase these like philosophy, psychology, philanthropy, or whatever, and just kind of use what I learned from that to kind of create some kind of solution. The other thing as well that I've really like, and the reason why I like typology so much is because it's basically like a blueprint to like how we are as people. And I found that, I found that awesome when I first got into MBTI. It was like, holy shit, like this here is gold. Like if people could get on board with this, understand exactly who they are and the way that they process information, where they're missing, like where their flat tires are, where their problems are, we can create like, and if everyone's on board and like, if we put this into schools or university or something, that it's a kind of lesson that we work on, people in general and like the whole population will kind of be like, 4% better than the last generation, because they're more like, they'll be more like growth minded people. So therefore like people in general just be like will have less issues in life, have less problems, there'll be less wars, there'll be less like conflict, there'll be less tribe issues, there'll be less self issues, there'll be less like information freakouts. So typology is something that I'd like to continue, like, and that's why I'm still part of the class. And I love like what Dave and Shannon are doing, and I want to support them 100%, is because I see what they're doing, and I believe that it can eventually manifest into something like that. And I'm enjoying the ride along. So something to do with humanity, helping people individually or on a large scale, something along those lines.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, it was awesome talking to you and getting to know you better and kind of seeing it from like a double introverted ENFP, because you guys are rare. So, I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to a lot of you guys, like I'm the extreme extrovert ENFP. Sorry?
There's actually a lot of ENFPs in the OPS group.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're consume monkeys, right? So, all the stuff that they're talking about, it's like, like for us, it's like, oh my God, holy shit, this is all gold, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I have demon blast like you, not as bad as you. You have it fourth, right? I have it third, so I can use it, but I have trouble with it. But
I feel it's like a hobby, right? It's like a hobby. You're doing this channel. It's like, I want to get information out. You know what I mean? That's the hobby animal. The third animal being blast for you. But I know this is like a theory that's kind of come up, and I'm like playing around with it, trying to understand. But the third animal, like for you, blast is something that you enjoy, you have fun with. Maybe you can use it.
I feel like as an ENFP, if we really want freedom, we need to use blast. Like blast is a must, because one of the things that really bothers me about like a lot of ENFPs out there is self-doubt. A lot of ENFPs doubt themselves, thinking, okay, you know what? I don't have enough information in this, therefore I cannot be a credible authority on this field. Therefore, I shouldn't, speak up on it, because what if I'm full of shit? What if this information that I have is not valid? And, and then the more that, we watch Dave and Shan's videos on high blasters, turns out they're even more full of shit than we are.
They're 100% full of shit. They're just
Because,
getting information quicker.
Yeah, because they just pulled the information that they have out of their ass, right? And
I read a headline on an article and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to share this.
Yeah, like you read the title of the book and now you're going to do a whole seminar on the book? Like, that's retarded. Like, I actually read the whole book. Not only did I read that book, I read 30 other books this year, being lead consume and stuff. Sorry?
It's the paradox of like consume first and blast last. It's like you keep thinking that you need to consume more before you blast, but you consume so much, you're just horrible at organizing the information, getting it out. So you need to spend more time narrowing down what you already know. Maybe just create some bullet points and then blast it out.
Yeah, wait. Remember that last video that they had on the membership website? The priest, the black guy? I forgot his name. Did you watch that one yet?
Yeah, I actually knew him because I was involved in the church community. I used to watch a lot of his videos. There was T.D. Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah. So one of the things that he said on the video as an EP was that it always sounds better in my head than what comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, I with that so much. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
And I completely related to that because in my head, it sounds like this perfect like seminar. Like I'm like the Tony Robbins guy in front of the stage and I'm just wowing everyone with this like really well thought out, explanation of how something works. And then when it comes out, it like stumbles. I'm like, blah, 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 yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I just think I'm retarded, But the biggest takeaway that I have recently was that the only reason why people with high blasts are so articulate with the way they're saying things is because that's all they do all day. Imagine that we allocated a time that we spent consuming and processing into actually blasting. How good would we be if we actually just flip things around, right? Like, what if we become a know-it-all and we just started, like, I have, you know what, man, I really struggle with this because I feel like such a douchebag when I sometimes when I make those Enfp videos, Enfp mail videos, I feel like such a douchebag sometimes. Like, I get my camera out, I start explaining things, then I watch a video, I'm like, who's this? Like I feel like such a douche, like teaching people how to do things properly, And then I was thinking to myself, why am I feeling like a douche? Like, I'm not doing anything different from like those other guys who are doing this all day, right? But how come they don't feel like a douche? How come they feel like it's like it's okay, So it's like,
maybe
what was sorry?
Maybe they do. Maybe they've had the same realizations as you. Like, because Dave actually talked about this in his interview with Benjamin, like last week. He actually said, like, when he started recording, he actually thought the same thing. He's like, who's this idiot? Like, what are you saying? Kind of thing. So I think it's just maybe the more, I don't know, it's just something you need to get used to, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and then, so one of my projects moving forward with the Enfp mail channel is actually to analyze ENFPs who succeeded. And so I have like this massive list of like ENFPs who's killing it. They're blasting and they're killing it. And I do notice that sometimes when they talk about the subject, they are missing some information. But I feel like when they're missing information, the only person that can catch them is another ENFP. I feel like if you are an INTJ watching this, you probably think what they're saying is gold. Kind of like when like Dave is talking about like the INTJ stuff, and he's talking about from his perspective. Maybe other INTJs think he's a stupid idiot, but like from ENFP standpoint, we're like, oh my god, he's God.
That's so true. For someone who's like got a demon consume, like watching someone with high consume blasting, it's like, holy shit, they actually have all these. They've collected all these ideas and thoughts, and they've kind of almost narrowed it down to something. And the INTJ is like, wow, like their mind's getting blown, and they're just like kind of taking in that information that's slightly narrowed down, and just it would probably feed into their like psyche and into their processes and actually do something with the information.
Just to add on to like kind of like the conversation we had earlier about the importance of blasts for ENFPs in order for us to achieve freedom. I think one of the biggest realization that I had recently too was that we have to be okay with being a douchebag to earn our freedom. Like, I'd rather be a douche and people think I'm an idiot or I'm retarded or a moron than not having my freedom. And that's kind of like my kind of like the pushing point. Like that got me over the edge of the cliff. where I actually, I've been thinking about making this channel for 8 years, man. And, that's pretty sad. It's been in my head for 8 years. And it's only right now I pulled the trigger. And, it's because I spoke to Dave about this too, right? Like, and, Dave said, well, yeah, it's not good, but is it going to get better tomorrow? 1% better every day, right? Well, like 1 year from now, is it going to be 2% better? And then I said to myself, yeah, you know what? There's no freaking way we're going to be retarded, 1 year from now if we just continue on building little by little, right? There's just no freaking way,
So true. That's such a good point. I think like a lot of NFPs need to understand that. It's like, and having consume as a savior, you are like, and Dave Shannon say they seem to be very, very particular, and you start to get like, you build up a lot of snobbery around things as like you kind of you get a bit perfectionistic about things. It's like, oh no, I need to get it better. I need to consume more to make it better before I can start. And that's what NFPs struggle with. And I think, what you're saying is great. And the fact that you understand it, and like a lot of other NFPs like myself and others in the group that understand these problems is great. And it's only going to help us. So it's awesome.
Well, I think it comes down to also having low sleep, right? Because I don't freak myself out really thinking about it that much as much as you, right? The freak out is not as hard as yours, just because like I don't process it long enough. Like I almost like having sleep as my fourth demon, because if I'm about to put a content out and I start thinking to myself, okay, you know what? Oh my God, this and this person will think I'm stupid. This person think, well, I'm missing some information. Yeah. I can turn it off. I can like say, you know what? Hey, stop thinking about that. You know what? Freedom over, peak being a douche over losing your freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, cool. Is there any like last final message you want to say before we wrap this up?
Not really. Like I've this whole interview, like I've been conscious of the fact of how like extroverted I feel or sound.
Yeah.
And this is something I do want to mention. The way like energy management is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
Right. Better than time management, because like for me, I know like where exactly throughout the day I have energy. And it's morning for me, which is perfect, because for me to have a productive day, I need to like stick to my routine, which is waking up early, going to work out, having some coffee, because if I do those three things in the morning, I know the rest of my day is gonna like be super productive and I'm gonna have a lot of energy. So yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about that mainly just because obviously a lot of ENFPs probably struggle with motivation and just getting started or just getting their ideas out of their head and into something practical. I think like the most important thing is like routine. Like you need to build yourself some solid routine. It doesn't have to be crazy. It just has to be, do the same thing every morning, get like a little bit of a routine to get you active and processing, and build yourself some foundation. So then from there, you can then build on top of that and to create something awesome and actually get some solid direction. That's what I've learned, and it's worked for me so far. I love it, and I'm excited to see what my life looks like in the next 10 years.
That sounds like a lot of SI right there, man. Like conscious SI.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool, Jonathan. Thanks for doing this interview with me, and I'll post it up as soon as I can. And
no problem. Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
All right, talk to you soon, dude.
We're good. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.